Okay, so Kim and I are trying something a little bit different today. We are at a local brewery. This is 760 Craftworks. Isn't that the name? Because I always forget.
I'm pretty sure.
Yes,
is 760 Craftworks.
760 Craftworks here in Huntersville, North Carolina. We're shaking things up. I think we want to try and do more of this.
Yeah.
Probably. I think it would be good.
So people think that we're cool and we go places.
Yeah, and that we don't just hide at home and stream, and that we actually get outside and do stuff.
Like
maybe,
once a
potentially.
month. Yeah.
It happens on occasion. So we talked about wanting to review more classic monster movies, and we watched Creature from the Black Lagoon, which was released in 1954, I think. Does that sound right? Maybe
we should have done more preparation. Yes, that sounds right-ish.
Yeah, and we were just chatting about this. So your mom said she saw it when she was younger, and I remember my dad saying he saw it in a theater when he was younger, and it was really creepy and scary. Now, having watched it in 2024, what is your...
Well, and I saw it when I was a kid. So that was like one of the classic VHS horror movies that my parents showed me when I was young, and I loved it when I was a kid. Like, because it was creepy.
Yeah.
It wasn't scary, but I thought it was creepy and enjoyable. So it wasn't like scary enough that I was like traumatized and I never want to watch it again.
Yeah.
But it lingered with me as like a quality creepy movie to watch.
I think when I finished watching it and we were texting, your response was pretty much what I thought, which was it was kind of what you would expect for a 50s era horror movie, which is not a bad thing.
No.
And my initial thing was I could see how it very much influenced Jaws. Like a lot of the scenes, and I'm going to sort of edit this to intersplice some of the footage there, but even like the scene where they've got something hanging off the side of a boat and the crane's breaking, like that scene in Jaws, like it's giving way when Quint says all of that. And even some of the shots of like one of the female characters, I guess the only female character actually.
The only one.
Swimming around and sort of underneath that kind of shot early on in Jaws. So I was, having never seen this, I was actually kind of floored by how much I could see the connection there between the two things.
And there were also, and I don't think this was intentional, but there were also scenes that reminded me a lot of Anaconda with Jennifer Lopez, classic movie.
I have not seen that in years, years and years.
Oh, well, that's a good one. Like with the crane thing, with something getting stuck in the water, and then someone being attacked and having to be wrapped in gauze and like set down. So, which also classic moment when the hand comes through the little window and is like attacking him. And we're like, just close the window, people. Just close the window.
So, and I guess before we get too far into this, we should quickly summarize the plot, which is basically an archaeologist, or not even, I guess it would be a paleontologist, really. I guess that would be the appropriate nomenclature potentially.
Some ologist.
They find a remnant of a creature jutting out of a rock wall.
Yeah, it's claw.
Goes to some colleagues and wants to go back for a more in-depth excavation that leads them deep into a jungle. And I can't remember if they actually say where they're at. Do they ever? I think they do at one point.
I feel like they said something about like the Amazon.
Yeah, right.
But I don't know.
Because there was a comment about the Mississippi River, and somebody says like, "Oh, well, the Amazon makes that looks like a creek or a stream."
Yeah, that's
or
why
whatever.
I feel like they said something about Amazon.
And so eventually, what they discover is that there is a prehistoric creature that is humanoid in nature. Living in the lagoon, but also in kind of a cave, like if you dive down.
Yeah, and it's very much like a secluded lagoon. Like it's not something that, like I get the impression that it's not something that humans ever have really like ventured to. And there's this whole voiceover at the beginning about like the earth being formed and the waters and the creatures and evolution, but not everything has evolved.
Which actually, I kind of dug that. I thought that was a cool intro for the movie.
Yes.
So as things play out, obviously, you know, what it is basically, the whole thing is the creature is stalking this team that's excavating things.
Very much the woman.
Right.
Had some King Kong creature and woman vibes going on.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember how you described it, but you said it was basically sort of the monster is attracted to the beautiful woman. Like
it is. Like that's
basically what it is.
And it reminds me a lot of King Kong because they talk about like beauty tamed the beast and stuff like that. And I mean, he literally picks her up at one point and like carries her to his cave like a little damsel. And I'm like, it could have been a cute love story.
Well, one of the things I will say that I really appreciated about this, again, given that it was released in 1954, presumably filmed in 53, like I thought the effects were actually pretty good.
Because it was simple.
It was simple, right?
Yeah.
The costume looked good, and even whoever it was that was under the costume was doing a good job of trying to be fish-like with kind of the breathing motions.
I was actually impressed, and I don't know the logistics that go into this, but like, and there's a lot of underwater shots. And so being in a costume like that, which I imagine is probably not light for the time, and swimming very fluidly, like he does a nice job of portraying those motions.
Yeah, the underwater scenes were actually really impressive.
They were.
And you know, I know we've talked about The Abyss, which I'm getting that 4K soon. We've talked about watching that, but you haven't seen that one yet, right?
I have not.
And that is a movie that's notorious for actors hating James Cameron because of him putting them in bad, like where they almost drown type situations.
Yeah, I've heard stories about that.
And I could see this not maybe being the same sort of thing, but there are a lot of underwater scenes where people are clearly holding their breath for a long period of time, including the person in the suit playing the monster.
Well, and especially him, because at least the other characters have, and I don't know how functional they were, but they have their iron lungs or their whatever they called them back then to breathe underwater. So there was a lot of underwater scenes, and just the one female character, and there's also this back and forth about, like, at one point it's okay, how much are we investing in the science and how much are we investing in, like, the creature hunting?
Right.
And it really becomes sort of this conflict, in my opinion, about, like, science versus, like, Neanderthal. Like, what's our goal here? Is it to destroy or is it to discover?
Right, and this one, I can't remember the character's name, but one of the dudes that's there wants the creature because it'll put them on the map, and he's willing to put everybody in jeopardy to get the creature.
Yeah, he wants the fame, and the other guy's like, no, we're all dying, we should leave.
And there's sort of an awkward fist fight that erupts later in the movie, underneath, like, in the cabin of the boat, the whole thing. So that part didn't really work super well for me.
It wasn't necessary because
and they were finally both like, nobody was like super mad after the fist fight, which I thought was kind of weird.
Like hints that there's like some love conflict between the girl and the guys, and I'm like, okay. It never really like came to fruition, so I'm like, I kind of don't care, and it wasn't necessary. But I thought it set up really well this pacing that when the main science guy leaves,
I want to be a main science guy.
The main science
awesome.
guy, it said so on his name tag.
Yeah, right.
When he leaves and they come back, the guys that he's left to, like, watch the dig site have been killed by the creature.
Right.
And so they immediately find the bodies. Still, they don't leave. They stick around. But, like, I thought that was a really nice way, because that was probably like 10, 15 minutes into the movie, and we've got dead bodies. Yeah. And so I appreciated that right off the bat. That's what made it feel more horror than sci-fi to me.
Do you think that they did a good job, because I saw some reviewers kind of comment on this, of making the creature seem sympathetic? Like, you know, you feel bad that the creature is being, basically tracked by humans and going to be captured and all that kind of stuff.
I do, because of the character who was, like, focus more on the science and like let's just leave. And I think that they do that voiceover at the beginning to me established this idea of like there are probably creatures and beings out there that exist that we don't know about that have been living for I don't know all the years, and so we enter their space and then disrupt their environment and then want to trap them for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the movie does do a good job of playing on that idea of kind of the unknown. Like, I mean, just any movie, like even The Abyss, to reference that again, like, we don't know what's out there, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that we probably don't know about yet. So, yeah, in terms of sympathy, I mean, in some ways I can agree with that, but at the same time, the creature murders two dudes who are just chilling out early in the movie. I know that they're in his territory and everything, but...
Yes, that's fair. He's not in imminent danger. And I guess it makes me wonder, are there ever times you feel sympathetic for the shark in Jaws? Because that's his world. Like, we went into the ocean.
Into it.
Like, that's not his fault, I guess.
I would say that I never personally felt sympathetic toward the shark. I don't know that I was supposed to.
King Kong,
King Kong, definitely.
Yeah, they go into his world.
I felt sympathy for that, for both in the original and the Peter Jackson King Kong, which I think is a good movie, too.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
So, yeah, I'm trying to think, so what other, like, major things with this one have we not commented on that you think would be worth?
So, I feel like what they do a lot of, and I think they could have done more of this, is I felt like very early on in the film, you see the claw hand in the stone, but then you see the creature's hand from the water, and you just see the hand. And I thought that was really effective at, like, building suspicion. I wish they had prolonged that. I feel like we got too much of the creature too soon. Like what they did ultimately with Jaws, which was more because they kept breaking their freaking shark.
Right. They had all kinds of technical difficulties with that,
And so, but I thought they could have prolonged the reveal of the creature, and that would have added some suspicion to it.
I mean, I will say, I agree with that. There were some moments where I was kind of laughing, where like people were swimming in the water and he's about to touch an ankle, and it's like, nope, not going to do that. You know, that sort of thing, which I guess was like sort of an attempt to build tension and suspense and that kind of stuff.
And there were a couple moments where they were diving, and I didn't remember the movie very much, so I was like, ooh, what is going to happen here? I don't know. And but I appreciated that people died.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that people got.
That's always a good hallmark of a movie, or a horror movie specifically.
Because especially older horror movies, I guess, like, if they didn't have the guts to do it, then I'm like, what was your purpose?
Right.
So that's why I appreciate that the creature killed people. He was clearly attacking, and they trap him at one point.
Yeah, they do. And
he gets away.
A bamboo cage. You can see him trying to get out, and he does. Yeah,
he gets out.
And I think one of the funniest things about the movie is how it ends. Like, it just seems like it's a super abrupt, which, you know, we talk about this in writing sometimes. Once you hit the resolution, you don't really need to go on too much longer beyond kind of the ending. But it, like, literally, as soon as things are resolved at the end within the cave and everything, it just ends, and that's it, quickly.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But.
And I wish, because they harm him quite a bit. Like, they shoot him with spears a lot.
There's a spear. Yeah, is it 2 or 3 times? I don't know.
Yeah, and he doesn't die.
He gets shot with a gun at one point, right?
Yes, which, you know, I don't know. Prehistoric lagoon creatures may be immune to bullets.
Right. He's got a super tough hide. Scales, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I liked that he was kind of impenetrable. I thought that was cool. I wish he hadn't, spoiler alert, died. Like, I
can't believe you spoiled it. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, it's all good.
Or what would have been cool, sequel, is like, is he the only creature in this lagoon?
Yeah.
Is he just like, how did he get there? I mean, has he been alive all this time? Did he have mommy and daddy creatures? Like, what's going on with that? I want to know. Is there another one?
I totally think there could be a super cool modern sequel that could be born out of this. That could probably be a little bit gorier, a little bit bloodier, you know. Without losing sort of the spirit of what this was. But I'm all in on, like, never discovered monster type of movies, that kind of stuff, you know.
Especially today, where like we have so much about advancing technology and doing all of that. So the more that we sort of say, hey, maybe pause, people.
Yeah.
You don't have to advance as much as you think. Because we get all that with machines, right? Like, all the movies now are, machines are taking over. I wouldn't mind some good creatures. Let's bring those back.
Yeah, so maybe we'll get a Creature from the Black Lagoon too at some point. Probably, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. That would be kind of cool though. So, okay, are we doing a classic monster movie next? I can't remember. We had talked about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, because the sequel to that is coming out next month.
Okay, I mean, and I do want to watch that. So we should do Winnie the Pooh. And then we should definitely do another classic horror movie. I picked Creature from the Black Lagoon.
I think Dracula. Because we just did Nosferatu.
That's true.
Do you not want to do that?
No, we can.
You seem hesitant to do that one, though.
Dracula's not my jam, but we can.
Well, so I think in that set that I have of, like, Universal, it's like Dracula the Mummy. That would be a good one, too.
Yeah.
Let's do the Mummy next.
Okay.
We'll do the Mummy. We'll split it up, because we did just do Nosferatu, actually. And Robert Eggers has that Nosferatu remake coming out, like, super soon. It's in post-production now.
Oh.
They've already finished filming it.
I didn't know
It's got Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
It's got all these people in it, so...
Yeah, the Mummy would be good. I would like to do the Wolfman at some point.
Yep, that would be good.
Yeah, we got lots of classics.
I like the Wolfman that has Benicio del Toro in it.
I did not see that.
That was pretty cool. I thought it was good. It didn't get great reviews, but I enjoyed it a lot. So, okay, cool.
Sounds good.
Well, we will be back soon, hopefully at another brewery. It was awesome. Thanks for watching. And so I guess it'll be The Mummy next is what we're doing. Or Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. One of those two.
It'll be both
at
some point.
Anyway, we'll be back somewhat soon.
Yes.